Hello and welcome to 11-1. Today we're talking about integers and absolute value. So our goal today is that you will identify and graph integers and find opposites. Let's read this little thing right here. The highest temperature recorded in the United States is 134 degrees Fahrenheit in Death Valley, California. The lowest recorded temperature is 80 degrees below zero in Prospect Creek, Alaska. So positive numbers are greater than zero. They may be written with a positive sign, right here, but are usually written without it. So the highest temperature can be written as plus 134 degrees Fahrenheit, or just without the positive sign in front of it, just regular 134 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, negative numbers, on the other hand, are less than zero. They are always written with a negative sign, so we don't have the option to write them without, because without just always means positive. So the lowest temperature is written as negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's move on to the next slide. So, identifying positive and negative numbers in the real world. Name a positive or negative number to represent each situation. So, a gain of 20 yards in football. Positive numbers can be represented as gains or increases. So I would say a gain of 20 yards in football would be plus 20 yards. Okay, same directions for these ones. Spending $75, so negative numbers can represent losses or decreases. So I would say this is a negative 75. I should get my dollar sign in there for my unit. Negative $75. So that means we're spending it, we're getting rid of it. So spending is a way we can represent negatives. 10 feet below sea level. Negative numbers can represent values below or less than a certain value. So this would be negative 10 feet below sea level. Okay, you can graph positive and negative numbers on a number line. On a number line, opposites are the same distance from zero, right? So like positive 2 is opposite of negative 2. Positive 3 is opposite of negative 3. They're the same distance from zero, but on different sides of zero. Zero is its own opposite. I always think that's so interesting. Zero is its own opposite. So what's the opposite of zero? Zero. Okay. Integers are the set of all whole numbers and their opposites. So now that we're using integers, we talk about that just means positive and negative numbers is what integers means. Now I need to graph each integer. Again, that just means positive and negative number, and its opposite on a number line. Now, I had to take this picture from my math book, and so the answers are already on there. Okay, so I have to do graph negative 4 would be right here, and then its opposite would be positive 4. Positive 4 is the same distance from 0 as negative 4. They're both 4 units away. Now I have to graph positive 3. Its opposite is negative 3. They are both 3 units from 0. Now if I graph 0 on here, its opposite is itself, so we're just going to write the proof of 0 is its own opposite. The absolute value of an integer is its distance from 0 on a number line. So when we're talking about the opposites, really its distance from 0 is called absolute value. The symbol for absolute value is this. Okay, so whenever you see like a negative 3 with straight up and down lines by it, that means it's absolute value, or what is its distance from 0. So the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. And the absolute value of 3 is negative 3, because it's asking how far away is it from 0. So absolute values are never negative. So you would never say the absolute value of negative 8 is negative 8. It is just 8 distance, 8 units from 0. So the absolute values are never a negative number. opposite integers have the same absolute value. Okay, and the absolute value of 0 is just 0 because it is its own deal. If we're counting how far away is 0 from 0, it's just 0 distance, right? Use the number line to find the absolute value of each integer. So let's see, what is the absolute value of 5? Okay, well, how far is 5 away from 0? It is 5 units. So the absolute value of 5 equals 5. What's the absolute value of a negative 7? Okay, so again, we're just asking how far away is it from 0? It's 7 units away from 0. So the absolute value of negative 7 is 7. Name a positive or negative number to represent each situation. So if we're talking about an increase of 5 points, I would say plus 5. A loss of 15 yards, that would be negative 15. Now if we want to graph each integer and its opposite on a number line here, let's first draw out our number line. Ooh, I got to get up to positive 9. I'm going to put 0 about right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's 9. I'm going to label it so I can come back to that later. Here's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, negative 2 right here. Negative 2. Notice how 0 is always my starting point. And negative 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 6 is right there. Okay, so we did those. Use the number line to find the absolute value of each integer. Okay, so negative 10, if I plot it on the number line here, it is 10. So I'm going to write the absolute value of negative 10 is 10. 10 units away from 0. Absolute value of 6 is 6, because it is 6 units away from 0. The absolute value of 3 is 3, because it is 3 units away from 0. And the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoy practicing absolute value. I think it's kind of a neat thing. And I'll see you tomorrow.